Hello, soulmates. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always stopping by. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to cut and also how to sew this simple corporate casual dress. So, if this is something you're interested in, please like, comment, and share. So, this is what the outcome look like, soulmate. So, like I said earlier, if this is something you're interested in, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get started. Welcome back, guys. So for the material we'll be needing a crepe fabric. So you'll need about one trouser to two trouser depending on how long you want your dress to be and how big your size is. So you need a bias tape, you need a zipper, and this is my lace fabric. So I'm using a chantilly lace and I'm using about half trouser. So if you're a bigger size, you will need up to 1 yard. So now the first thing I'll be doing is to measure the length of my gown. So I want my own gown below my nail, not very long. So that's the length. Then I added 2 inches at the lower part for the hemming allowance. So from there, from that point there, so I'm using 41. Yeah, I used 41. So I measured my half length over there. Then I count down 8 inches below for my hip line. Then I'll marking my bust line. I'll be marking my bust line there. Then I'll be marking my armhole line here. Then I'll be marking my upper bust line. So that's where the net, that is the yoke, will be starting from. So my upper bust is 6, but because of the joining allowance of half inch, I'm using 5.5. You know, we are transferring on the fabric. We are cutting directly on the fabric. We are not using a pattern. So that's why. So if your upper bust is 7, you mark 6.5 on your fabric, so that when you sew it will go back to 7. So I'm on this point, I'm just trying to roll out the lines. So I'm rolling out the lines so that when I'm measuring it can be visible. So for my half length, I measured 16 earlier, but it was 15.5. So that's why there's 2 lines at this waist area. So it's the upper one I will be using. So now to know if this fabric folding will be enough, so I'm trying to measure my hip measurement divided by 4 plus my joining allowance. So after that I noticed it was too much, so I'm just trying to adjust it here. So after getting the right folding, I measured my hip measurement divided by 4, then I added 1.5 for my joining allowance by the side. So the next thing I did was to go to my bust line. So that's my bust line. I measured my bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So at the waist area too, I measured my waist measurement divided by 4, that allowance 1 inch and sewing allowance 1.5 inch. So now I'm trying to connect the bust to the waist and the waist to the hip. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So for this upper part here, for you to know where it will be, so I'm trying to extend this line upward just to do as if I'm cutting a complete gown, so that I can know where the armhole, how the armhole will look like. So that is why I'm now trying to draw this armhole line. So I'm trying to draw this armhole line. So after drawing it, I noticed that at the chest area, yeah, that point is just like 3/4 inches different from your bust, from your shoulder measurement. Let's say your shoulder measurement is 15, you know, you measure it on fold, which is 7.5. So after measuring this, I noticed I have about 6.75. So it's just 3/4 inches away. So you can just mark it like that and just deduct 3/4 inches from your shoulder measurement. I hope you understand. So the next thing is to just extend this hip line downward. So I'm trying to extend it downward. So I want it straight, not too pencil. So I'm not doing too much at this lower part. But if you want yours pencil, you can just shape it. So I have a tutorial on how to measure a pencil skirt. So I will link it up here for you to see. But I'm just making a straight gown. I just want it to be straight downward, not penciled at the lower part. So after extending the line downward, the next thing to do now is to just cut this out. So after cutting it out, we transfer it to cut the back pattern. So this is what it looks like. So now the next thing to do is to measure your dart. So for my dart, I usually go like 1.5 inches below my bust line, just through the line at that point. Then I measure my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus half inches. So let's say your nipple to nipple measurement is 7. So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5 plus half inches, that's 4. So just measure 4 too at all those points. So yeah, I'm going down by 5 to that is where the dart will end. Then I measured 4. So the next thing I'll be doing is to insert my office pin at this point. So at the 3 points, just look at what I'm doing. So at this point here, I will insert my office pin. At this point here too, I will insert my office pin. Then at this one too, I'll insert my office pin. So it will be showing at the back. So I'll just use my shock to just make a point here, so that I will know where the dart will be for this part, where it will be stopping, where the midpoint is, and where it will end. So now this is the back. So I've placed it on it. Like you will add your zipper allowance at this side. So I use 1.5 because the gown we have a slit and I want the slit to be covered. That's why I'm using 1.5 at this part. So I'm trying to extend this waistline to the back pattern. Then I'll be preventing zip bulging by just taking half inch away. So if you want a tutorial on this too, I will link it up here. I have it already. So it's just to do something that looks like a dart at this area, just to prevent zip bulging. So for the dart too, I'm trying to extend the dart from the front to the back. Then I'm using my shock to just note the point. I'm using my shock to note the point so that it can be transferred easily on the fabric. So that is what I'm trying to do. So now I'm cutting away this zipper bulge prevention technique that I use. So I'm just cutting it away because it is not needed. Then this is what the back look like. So the back we also have a yoke. The back we also have a yoke. So now the next thing I'll be doing is to measure what I have here. Then you see I'm taking my tape like half inch away. This is because of the band like stuff we'll be adding at this area. I'll still explain better for you to understand, but I'm just trying to measure what I have there. So for the yoke, so the remaining part of your, that is from your shoulder to your chest line, so the remaining part for mine, mine is 6. So I'll be measuring 6, then I will add half inch for the shoulder joining, then half inch for the joining to the lower part of the dress. That is, I will join it to the other part of the crepe. So I'll be adding half inch for that, then half inch for the shoulder allowance, that is the joining at the shoulder. So if your chest line is 6, definitely you'll be measuring 7. But if the material is stretching, you have to reduce half inch from it, so you'll be using 6.5, so that it will not be stretching, it should not be overstretching. So for this part here, for my shoulder it is 7 inches, but for the edge of this yoke I minus half inches. So for my shoulder I measured 7, but from the edge of this yoke I measured 6.5. So I'll be transferring it to this part here just to cut the other part, which is for the back. Then I'll be adding the zipper allowance to at this area. So it's 1.5. So that's what I'm adding to at this area. So you go ahead and just cut whatsoever you have. So you just go ahead and cut. Then after cutting the remaining nets, you cut out your sleeve, which I'll be showing you later. So I'm opening up this back, but before I open it up, let's measure our neckline. So this neckline is depending on you. If you want it wide, you can measure it. If you want it very small, you can measure it. But I'm using 3.5 by 4 for the front and 3.5 by 1.5 for the back. So I don't want it to be too wide and I don't want it to be too small. So that's why I'm using 3.5 by 4 for the front and 3.5 by 1.5 for the back. Then I did my shoulder slope, which I'm cutting away right now. Then I will cut my neckline now. So I'll cut the back first. Yes, just like this. After cutting, let me open up this back. So I'll remove it, then I will now cut the neckline for the back. So now this is what I have. So this is the front and this is the band I was talking about. So if you want this band very wide, because from the inspiration I noticed it was wider than mine, so you can just measure 7. But for me I measured 4 like this because I don't want it to be too wide. You can measure 7 or 6 depending on how wide you want it. So I placed this band on it like this. Then after notching the midpoint, I went away by 1 3/4 inches to the right, 3/4 inches to the left. Then for the remaining part here, I'll be sewing it, then I'll be turning it outward. So I'm trying to tell you the measurement here, which is 4 inches. So I'll still explain this part again. So this is what it looks like after sewing. So this part here will be on the dress. So this is what the back look like. This is just one part of the back. So now let's fix this to the main bodies. So this is the right side of this. So you make sure the wrong side are facing each other. The way you hold it down, the wrong side will be facing each other like this. So the right side is up right now. The right side is facing up. Then I'll first pin the midpoint, which is very important. Then this part here that I said, so I left this part here open. It's like a band, but I left this part here open, and I'll be just be fixing it like this. So from the right and from the left, I left 3/4 inches. This is because of the joining of the sleeve, so that it will not be affecting it, so that this band will not be affecting it. That's why I left 3/4 inches to the right and 3/4 inches to the left. So this is what it looks like. So after sewing, this is what you will have. So I'll still explain better using the back. So this is the back. Then after noting the right and the wrong side of the fabric, you place the material wrong side facing each other. Then you place this band on it. You would have sewn the other part, which should be used as a belt that will be tied. But for the parts that will be open, to make sure you measure what you have on your bodies, then you leave like an opening towards this armhole area. You don't allow it to get to the end. Let me explain using this one. So this is it. So you make sure the wrong side are facing each other in this case. Then this is the band. So it has been sewn, the other end has been sewn. Why this part here is opened? Because we'll be joining it together with the band. That is why it is opened. So after joining this is what it looks like. Then I went ahead to top stitch on it, and that's the opening I talked about, so that when you want to join your sleeve to the bodies, the band will not be affecting it. So that's the opening there. And that's the top stitching I said, just to hold all these pieces together. So these are the back bodies. This is what the right side look like, and this is what the wrong side will look like. So this is what it looks like. So the next thing is to join the back together. Use a bias to turn the neckline. Then you turn the neckline using a bias, you join the side and you join the back. So this is what I have after doing all that. So for the back here, this is my slit. I went ahead to even hem the lower part. So the only thing remaining for this gown is my sleeve and my zipper. So that's the only thing remaining to be fixed. So this is my sleeve here. The length was not enough, so I added band just to make it long. So that's what I did. So after sewing and ironing, this is what it looks like. So this is my zipper. Then I'll go ahead and fix. So I'll fix my sleeve on this. So I'll fix it there, then I'll fix it at the other side. So then I went ahead to also fix my zipper. So this is what it looks like. After doing all that. Like I said, if you want yours longer, you can make it long, but I don't want it long. That's why I'm making it short. So this is what the back looks like. Make sure the back is equal, not that the band is longer than. I don't know if you get. Not that this part is longer. Just make sure everything is equal so that your work can be neat. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't liked, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.